Oh, hello everyone. We just lost Dan. Oh well. This is Frenchie from Schmoes the North, and you are watching Schmodown 9 Canada. On with me on this episode, Mr. Ben from Mount Schmodown. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to talking this match.
Yes, sir. And hell of a match it was. And people stick by because we have a special announcement, I'd say around mid episode. It's something very interesting and very fun for all of us. So do not miss it out. All right. So let's start with our expectations of this match. Let's start like where's your head at? Was it possible that Jeff Sneider was going to beat Don Murrel? Did it even occur to you this was the first time they were going against each other?
I thought I couldn't believe how long it took for to get these new players to get to each other.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
And I wanted Dan to win,
Hmm.
but something told me Snyder had an edge on Dan for some reason.
Really?
I don't know why, but something, I just had a gut feeling.
Okay.
But having said that, I'm so happy I was proven wrong. This was a great match, in my opinion.
All right, and there he is. Your internet decided to die at the wrong moments, my friend. All right, so as we were going into it, where was your head at? What did you thought? Like, who was gonna win? First impressions, and did you realize it took this long for Jeff Snyder and Don Merle to go against each other? Dan?
Sorry. I've been having connection issues here. I had to get onto my tablet. Could you repeat that?
Yes. What was your expectations? Where was your head at with those two competitors? And as well, did you realize this was the first time they would meet in a match?
Yeah, honestly, like every time I think about that, I'm astonished because of like the level both of these competitors play at. For them to have never met in
Mm-hmm.
two of the longest careers in the Schmodown is so wild. Um,
I
it
know,
was
right?
it was almost impossible to make expectations for this match, and like we know what Jeff does, we know what Dan does, we like the good and the bad of Jeff and the steadiness of Dan, but doesn't always get the finish. uh it's just so great of a matchup to get this late into the
Mm,
Schmodown.
mm. Yeah, and it's for me. How can I say this? It is the match I never knew I wanted because I thought they'd been against each other. Like I don't recall it at all, right? But it's like, oh, okay, round maybe two or three, like, and then wait a minute, this is the first time, and then realize the potential. Finally, we can. A lot of people are calling Snyder the goat, including Snyder and Roxy. And they're like, where to go, where to go, where to go. And Dan Merle's like, no, no, no. And a lot of fans too, right? So this is a match to settle that question, in my opinion.
Mm.
And it really solidified what I already thought personally. But yes, this was a match to end all matches personally.
I mean, I have difficulty saying that because like it's one match, right? Like if you look at even corruption versus the founding fathers, where corruption came out on top of more of the matches,
Mm,
I, as the biggest corruption fan, still can't positively say that corruption is a better team than the founding fathers was because of like Dan Murrell's like
mm.
ability, really.
And what do you think? Do you think like Dan is really the goat now, or do you think Snyder still has a shot in the contention of the talk?
Uh,
I think
No, no, the question
yeah,
to Ben.
I think he starts as the goat, and he needs somebody needs to knock him off.
All right, and Ben.
I think he could. I think Sneider is a goat when it comes to team players.
Okay.
As of right now, I think he needs to work a little harder on not getting in his own head to be considered the GOAT for singles players. I don't think you can be the GOAT
Yeah.
and need. Lucky does a great job talking it back up, but I don't think you can be the GOAT and have that be a necessity for you in a match, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't know. It's okay. So I'm gonna say this. Let's start with round one, right? Or even before round one. Um, there's a lot of technical problems, and there's a lot of like, what the hell's going on? Like, not the right, intro, a couple bugs here and there. I personally think Grace is screwing with Harloff here. There's going to be some glitches, intention glitches, right? And what did you how did you both react to the news that Grace was coming on? Because for me, it was like, holy shit, this is gonna get intense.
I thought it was interesting because I thought as of that season, when Kate fired Grace, I thought she was gone. I didn't really expect her to come back anytime soon. Her and Ken, I thought they were gone and I thought they were done. So it was really surprising to me to see Grace come back.
And you, Dan?
Yeah, kind of similarly. I was very surprised to see her again, but as always, I'm excited to see the Lioness in the Schmodown because like I actually said this a number of times talking about when she was on the Den and like how Grace always seems to walk into a faction as it's rising up and then exit the faction as everything goes south. Like corruption is the one example against that because they did win the championship afterwards, but like Grace herself didn't, like she always lands on her feet like a cat, like a lioness, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's so great watching her just do whatever she wants in the Schmodown for all of these years because she just walks in and takes over and everyone forgets to ask questions.
Like,
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Ben. Go ahead.
Well, I really going to say, don't forget, Grace kind of managed Dan way back when he was part of the Lions Den. Even though that didn't last that long, they briefly worked together way back when.
Yeah, exactly. She's been there for a long time, right? She knows the in and outs. And I'm sorry, like for me, I finally get what they mean by war. It's not just war in the matches; it's war at all fronts. You see things are splitting here and there in like factions, in between factions, and also now in management and forced by the higher beings, right? It was cool to see the creator of Walking Dead pop up, like, holy shit. But it's starting to make sense to me. The whole Shmominati thing, it's implementing here and there. You kind of wonder how did Grace get that position in the storyline. I can guarantee you it is attached to Shmominati storyline for sure, and they're really pulling the strings to create a war. And you're gonna probably have two sides of the coin, probably Team Grace and Team Harloff, and some factions in different teams. They're creating something really interesting here.
Now that you've brought it up, though, the Shmominati, I obviously Grace is a highly touted suspect for like not I can't say the head because it's too obvious. Like everybody is looking at Grace. So she's the public face of it. If we're going to go down that road of reasoning, I think that she is too much already an adversary to be the person behind all the operations. But I am wondering how high up does it go, because we have the Skybound people. The creator of The Walking Dead is sitting on the movie Trivia Schmodown, and does he know about the Schmominati, or are they placing Grace in his hands and just saying that, does he not know, and he doesn't understand that who he just let into the fold, or he does know and this is a calculated move of adding the Lioness above Christian?
It's a lot to be revealed, but what do you think, Ben, about the whole, implications of Schmominati storyline and this probably intertwining and interweaving into one big storyline?
I like it. I think it keeps us interested and keeps the storyline going, like you said. And I want to know who's part of a Schmominati. Who, could it be Ellis? Could it be Holof himself? Could it be... I don't know.
I don't think it's Harloff. Because one of the storylines, right, when there was someone taking over, it finally was Harloff. I don't think he's going to do that storyline again. But definitely, it's more than one person. It's Grace. It's like Illuminati. It within the real. Why are you laughing, bro?
Oh, I was gonna say to push back on that a little bit. To be fair, the Schmodown does mimic a lot of wrestling and WWE storylines, and Vince McMahon is always the person behind the person behind the person. Just every single one of those storylines ends at the top.
Maybe, but
here's an idea. I'm sorry, but it came to me. What if it's Grace and Emma working together as a head of the Illuminati?
Obviously,
the Five Club.
Obviously, people can come back, right? But I think she's really busy with her new job. You keep seeing on Twitter, her new stuff, right? I think she's gone for good. It would be awesome because who knew JDE would be back, right? So surprises can happen. But
maybe Grace is just the face, and maybe that way they don't need Emma for the majority of it. Maybe they could have him pop up at the very end of the storyline.
It would be interesting because apparently I think she was supposed to be a villain when they were doing factions, right? She's supposed to be showing a different side. So you never know. That'd be awesome to see a couple people, in the Schmominati that you never guess because they're good guys. Hell, Lon Harris is in the Schmominati. We all thought he lived in the streets, right? And then finally he was living in a secret hideout. So we don't know who could be in it, but it's definitely a good potential. They're starting it good. And I really can't wait to see what else evolves from that. All right, so let's go on to the match. And right off the bat, again, I was expecting a perfect round Murrel and a almost perfect round, at least Sneider. It did not end up being like that exactly. What happened?
It's a year. They both said 91, and the answer was 1990 for the sequel question. So that's just being a year off 30 years ago is not that big a deal.
Yeah, but okay, it's not that big a deal. But I didn't feel like they were solid, right? You can see there's things here and there that they're kind of questioning. And Sneider, if I was his opponent, he would annoy so much that it probably would affect me. Him and being negative and I've lost every question and then just pops it up, being negative the whole time because he's in his head. annoys me so much, infuriates me so much that it would not be good if I would play against him because I suck and that would distract me.
See, that brings me back to what you were saying earlier of like, I don't think Jeff needs to get out of his own head in order to like be great or achieve further greatness because it plays so much into him and how he is and his character and how much he hates to lose. It's look at your Washington Capitals jersey. Who's the captain of that team? One of the most hating to lose people ever. And like it's kind of like you need to hate to lose in order to win because he just needs more tools to stop himself from losing or more tools to make himself win.
But you see, for me, that right there it's an indication like it kind of cost him the game in my opinion because he was still thinking about some things. And even Roxy said, "Abstain yourself." Even the last at the end, no comment. Please don't say anything because he gets so worked up for things that you kind of need to let go. If not, it might cost you a point or two, and that is the match. And that's been why, especially in singles, Sneider has been shaky. I'll keep saying it. Sneider is a team player. Singles, he's good, but he's nowhere personally. It's not he's nowhere. He just dropped the ball more often than he should in singles, I should say.
In my opinion, he is a very hot, very cold player. Any match, he can go one way or the other, and maybe he got lucky last season, I don't know, but I think he can do it again. I think he could do it again, personally.
Statistically, he did not get lucky because Jeff has played at a 66% win rate in singles pretty much his entire career. He goes 2-1, he goes 4-2, he goes, I guess, 6-3 would be the next possibility. It's pretty consistent in that regard, and also a very high win percentage for the Schmodown because.
And that's the problem with the rosters right there, right? Because in teams, they're fucking solid. They're really good. But, there's no one that comes in mind who's really strong in singles, right? So, like, what do you do if your best player is someone who has, like, a 66% win rate?
No, 66 is super high, dude. Like...
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I think only Dan is above that.
Ah, I see. It still sucks.
Like that means like again, like it's a 4-2 record through multiple seasons, and then there was one season where he didn't get to play as many matches, and he went 2-1. It's always winning more than you lose. He does happen to lose the wrong matches, which does kind of suck.
That's what I mean, though. Like, okay, I get it. He has a high percentage, but he drops the ball when it really counts, right? And that's where you start going in contention for your faction, at least in contention to those points. So extra points you need to go up. He doesn't usually bring them in except for like for teams, right? But for singles, you need a player that does good in teams and singles to really make sure you're in the top 3. And that's for me, that's what's missing in the Rockstars.
Mm-hmm. See, I just realized. Yeah, go ahead.
I really going to say, did Buck and Draco have a good percentage? He must be pretty high up there too, isn't he?
And Draco can be shaky sometimes, even more than Sneider.
Okay.
But I don't know. I don't know if you can find that in his percentage.
I don't know it like off the top of my head, but the issue is, and Draco has not played that many singles matches. He tends to only play around tournament time, and he gets one of those like lower end slots because he doesn't like make it through many times. And like he's a very knowledgeable player, and he is the more of a team player than I would say even Sneider is, because his field of knowledge is so great and so vast, but his dedication to, like, I don't know exactly what it is, because it's not study and it's not gameplay, because last year he watched every Schmoedown match that had ever been released in preparation. So I'm not sure. Maybe Andreyko is in that same pool with Lon Harris and Alonso Duralde of just like, and Mark Edward Hoyk could end up in this category once we see more matches of his as well, of just the greatest players to never win a belt. And maybe it's because they're not partnered with Dan Murrel or with Jeff Sneider or with like one of the greatest players of all time. And it's really tough when there's not a lot of separation between these guys' skill levels, even when we're talking Dan and Jeff, or Dan and Collins, or Dan and Oyama, or you know, any combination of all of those guys.
Yeah, and it's still early in the sport. We're like, when you think about it, 8 years in the sport is not long, right? So it's bound to.
Wayne Gretzky wasn't born yet.
There you go. All right, so let's go on round 2. Okay, the whole sports movie, I spin away, I want Dan to get it thing.
Oh yeah, when that happened, I was like, why would you do that to Sneider? That is made for you. That category is made for you. Why would you spin away from that?
I disagree with that. I don't think I think he spun away and pretended it was a strength. I don't think sports movies is a good category for Jeff, because while he does watch a lot of real world movies, a lot of sports movies are super over the top, and that's what he was trying to avoid, is that kind of movie that always puts Jeff off of his game, of just like, why was this even included? He wants to spin dramas. It's
making it, you know, more understandable strategy. There's ways to position yourself, the you know, what you want to let an opponent know versus reality. And it might be the case, but at the same time, didn't he already do sports movie in the past and actually had success? Because I thought he did.
He's had enough success, but never like the 4-for-4 or in teams like 6-for-6 kind of category of like just nailing every question out the gate. Sports movies is such a broad category because you get everything from the like comedy slapstick, like literally Slapshot or Goon, all the way up to like some very, very dramatic retellings of sports movies. And yes, like Dan being weak at sports movies, but also, again, there are so many. I've definitely heard Dan talk about some of his favorite movies being sports movies, and when we watched him do those wrestlers in film questions, a couple of those were like sports related, and so you get this like very imperfect balance of like, yes, traditionally you might think that Dan, as the like more Indiana Jones, Jaws, blockbuster kind of lover that he isn't going to be big on those movies, but he does watch a lot of them, and he's actually a pretty big sports fan himself, so it's tough.
And that's what's scary about Dan, is like, when you think about it, for me, like automatically in my head, it's like, yeah, Dan probably is not that bad in sports movie, right? He doesn't seem to have, you know, like there's competitors, they have like really strong forces, medium forces, and then abyss. Dan does not seem to have the abyss category. Anyways, that I can remember. He seems to be a pretty good generalist in a lot of things and specialist in a couple of things, right? But his generalist capacities in those categories, kind of like over surpasses certain other people's knowledge, even if they would consider themselves specialists, right? So he is a scary person. And how do you prepare for that? How do you prepare for someone who has no abyss categories? For me, the only person for me that's kind of the same right now is Collins. And they are the two only players that have no abyss categories.
Well, can I just say, I think that's why that makes Dan the GOAT. And I don't see anybody taking over that anytime soon. Maybe Collins, but let's give him 1 or 2 more years before we say that, in my opinion.
All right, but maybe it's I've always been the hyper of like the new people, right? I always like they're the best. So I guess my opinion is a bit out the window. But for me, Collins has definitely the potential to be the next a Dan Murrel. Maybe not the next, because I think Dan Murrel's there for a little while, but a Dan Murrel type player, which we haven't seen in a freaking long time.
Absolutely, I 100% agree with that.
I said it a number of times last season, and it's very true that Adam Collins is currently an Ethan Irwin type. We know we know he's got the knowledge. We know he's got the game. We know he's got the drive. He just won the title. Very, very Irwin-esque. We're now going to see the sophomore season and the season that follows that is really what tells the difference.
For me, that statement, I understand it, but for me, that statement goes like he's not quite the that type of player, because that player is good. It took some time. He had like a down season, up season, then won a championship, then down season. Collins ran through. Collins took the ball, ran with it, and closed the game in his first season, and is definitely one to be looked for the title defense. For me, the player you mentioned is good, but it took time before he sealed the deal, and he wasn't dominant necessarily in his closing. So I get the comparison, but for me, he's still closer to Dan Murrel and how he did it than the player you mentioned.
Well, I was saying Irwin because he won the title in that first season and went on an incredible run to do it. A more fitting example is Paul Oyama. But nobody is talking about Paul Oyama as if he is the GOAT because of his like not even that terrible sophomore season. It was pretty damn good. He just lost some matches. But the way he looked going in, that shark attitude was very much Ben Bateman like. He was playing the wheel and the statistical game of the Schmodown, where we don't know yet if Collins was doing something similar or if he's going the more knowledge route of he just fucking knows everything.
And oh, go ahead, Ben.
I would say maybe Collins is a little more like Sam Levine, where I put Sam Levine maybe just under Dan Murrel, but I still put Sam above Ethan Irwin.
Okay. And I actually like that to compare those two together makes sense.
As soon as he said it, I was like, yeah, that's actually correct. It's not sense. Oyama or Irwin, it's Levine.
All right, so before we go on, because I wanted to talk about a bit the new edge of Dan Murrel. Before we do, we're gonna bring on someone else from Mount Schmodown, and we got a little announcement for you all. So let's do this. All right, let's introduce Mr. Ryan. How are you doing today, bro?
What's up, fellas? Apologies for the lateness, though. I mean, to everyone who's watching right now, unfortunately, like everything else, life happens, or, my brain's kind of like wanting to shut down after work. So it was kind of funny how all of a sudden you guys hit that message. I'm just going, this is literally me and Ben. I'm just like, oh crap, and then I'm just like a possession, like, oh, come on. But I'm good.
All right.
I'm really good.
Well, we're glad you're here, my friend. All right, so we've teased this a bit, but this is the time to officially announce this. Now, the reason why you two both are on today's show is for the simple matter of fact that we are honored to say that we are merging with Mount Schmodown. So we are now going to be one channel itself, and you will see them now in a new time slot, same day. It's going to be Saturdays, 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific, to around 5-ish, and sometimes live, sometimes not. But it's going to be, the new episodes are going to be on Saturdays. Also, we're going to also repost and re-release the old episodes of the past on Monday and Wednesday. So if you haven't seen some episodes of Mount Schmodown, hey, you still at the right place. We're going to put them on for you. So welcome to the team, boys. We are honored to have you guys.
Thank you very much, Frenchie. I don't want to take up too much time here. I mean, this is like a good little new avenue with us. I mean, for myself, Ben, and of course, people don't know our third co-host, Brandon. He's not on. Brandon, like everything else, life happened, and so he had to step away. I mean, but I do wish him luck on what he's doing in the future. I know with his other show, Schmo Me the Money, which Frenchie and I were a part of. That I know that's definitely taking up a lot of time. So I'm like, best of luck, Brandon. I hope you get that show off the ground, honestly, man.
And on Schmo Me the Money, I think me, you, and HG changed the game because we went so intense, we broke the record for most points. And
that's what I heard.
All 3 of us just, talked the way through, and it was a battle, my friends. That was an honor to face you. And again, Ben, I hope really everything goes good with your show because it's definitely started well, and I can't wait to be on again. Yeah. All right, so now that's announced. You are officially part of Schmoes of the North. Welcome to the North. You are honorary Canadians in our heart, boys.
Awesome.
Thanks for having us. It's great to be here.
I'm glad I got my best sweater. I'm glad I got myself a thick sweater for this, so I don't have to be freezing my butt off.
All right, so let's go to what we were talking about. Dan Murrel. The new Dan Murrel, the Dan Murrel with the dungeon, the Dan Murrel with a bite. I freaking love this entrance. I freaking love the way he presents himself. He's not like over the top evil, right? He's no Robert Marbury head doing the laughs and everything. But there's something scary about him that kind of reminds me a bit of pissed off McGuiney.
Yeah, he does, honestly. Just watching that first promo of him just doing that talk before it got cut off, we were seeing like a very focused, laser focused Dan, to where he wasn't like he wasn't villain, but very more of intense, like mob boss intense, honestly, to where you don't want to be sitting across a table from this guy, knowing if he's going to look at you the way he was looking at that camera throughout both promos, and then just seeing his performance in that match, just like, what could you do? You either had to keep pace with him, or you had to make sure that he messed up.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it evolves. What did you, Ben? What did you think about the new edge we're seeing with the dungeon with Dan?
I loved it, and I loved. I guess I can say it. I loved his paying tribute to a smasher. I wouldn't say how. That was really cool. Yeah. I loved that. That was awesome.
I really appreciate that, because it went over my head at first, because I'm just like, okay, this is just Dan being more part of contribute to the dungeon. And then once Kaiser comes on and goes, oh, nice tribute to Smash, I'm like, oh, of course. Now of course I'm like, oh, I mean, I really appreciate that.
And what have you done?
I was just trying to figure out which was the question, and I think there was one question Dan got in the second round that could have made a very different game, because there's one thing that is as true about myself and Dan Murrel as the fact that our names are both Daniel, and it is that we hate the Transformers movies. And if you had asked almost any question about John Cena's character in Bumblebee, rather than just who John Cena's character was, I don't know how easily Dan pulls it. Because, again, those movies suck.
Well,
Bumblebee was good.
forgive me for 1 second, but
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Dan get a question wrong about Bumblebee that season?
I think it was last. I believe maybe it was last season because I know he got when he was asked Bumblebee in this match. He did get it right.
No, I know, but that season I think he got one wrong about Bumblebee.
Oh.
I forget which match it was. It might have been a college one, or it might have been one before that, but
Yeah, his Bateman defense or his Collins match, honestly, where he where that slip came.
It's possible, and yeah, and it's very true. Like he didn't enjoy the movies, and I remember watching his review of Bumblebee, and like I know he's seen it at least once.
Yeah.
But he basically said like he liked it more than the other Transformers movies, but it wasn't a Michael Bay movie, which does give me forgiveness of the film, but I still haven't seen Bumblebee because I saw
It's
4 of the 5 Transformers movies.
I just have to say no. Give Bumblebee a chance because not just because it's just because it has no Michael Bay fingerprints near it.
It helps.
It does help. Yes, it helps that Michael Bay is nowhere near this film. But
Yeah,
the performances
that's what
in
might
this,
make me see it.
but also the performance in this movie, they do try to. I mean, it's obviously the decade is the 80s in that film, so you're going to get some 80s like nostalgia pop up. But it doesn't really try to overcrowd. At least in my mind, when I first saw it in theaters, I really enjoyed it. It was a good, solid story, and the opener itself was fantastic. Honestly, you get to see good old-fashioned and not old-fashioned, but you get to see some good animation with Cybertron. So it's definitely worth a watch.
All right, but let's finish the Transformers talk because my brain hurts already, and let's go back to slices. And I was surprised when I saw wrestlers in movie. My brain was like, "Oh, what happened? This is new." And
I was excited. Go ahead, sorry.
But it's interesting. Like we're gonna see some really unique, I think, categories this year because if we're starting out with wrestlers in movie, which completely makes sense, but I never would have thought a million years of that category. So I think we're in store for some good shockers this season, man.
everything said, when I saw that category, it was almost like I was frozen today. If you got that reference.
Not really.
Was anyone else completely thrown off? Like I had to rewind and check again, and the 8th question in round 1 was not an animated question, and I don't know what to do with my life anymore. It was a director's question.
When it comes to certain broad genres like animation, you will be given a director's or an actor's question, and Oh no, it was a legit director's question.
The category was directors, and I was like, wait, it was animated all last year. I kind of hope it is directors for all of this season. That would be an interesting category to keep in a round 1.
I feel they might change it up, honestly, because with the fact that there's now 12 players to a faction now, over 96 players overall, like a third, 50% of them are going to be towards singles because some of them are teams players, and we don't know when teams is going to happen. So I do like the fact that this directors was the last question here because it's showing that they are changing up their format. It's not always going to simply be, oh, we kick off with action adventure, then we go to 90s, and then it's actors and actresses, taglines, or like they don't keep with the same 8 questions anymore. Like even with the Mancuso and Marisol match, they had some new categories thrown in that first round as well. That kind of threw me off a little bit. So I definitely
haven't seen that one yet. So
I won't say one. I'm just saying that.
I already know. Don't worry.
I'm like, I don't want to be the guy. I'll still be very tight. I respect not spoiling anything for 24 or 48 hours, depending on people's ability to access the content. So it's kind of like I have no problem keeping my mouth shut.
Could I get on that for a second? For some reason, remember Mandalorian and how it was like spoiled immediately? I don't even watch Mandalorian, and I know exactly what happens at the end of season 2.
Yeah.
Season 2? 3? It's 2, right?
It's 2. Yeah,
okay.
There's only 2 seasons so far. Yeah.
Okay. And I just remembered thinking in that time, remember Infinity War? I think it was like 3.5 months before I saw an Infinity War spoiler online. Because everybody was like, don't ruin it for them.
The Russo brothers
see it.
Yeah. The Russo brothers had like a printed statement and they shared on camera and they posted the photo like, we appreciate you want to talk about the movie, but please keep it to yourselves. Do not say anything about it. Of course, there were small circles to where people had talked about it and some came across a spoiler, but even then, it was not the main topic, and maybe till like when Ant-Man and the Wasp popped up to where people started talking about Infinity War. The lack of control of the Mandalorian. The lack of control of the Mandalorian was just shocking.
And by the way, for whoever sent this message, bonsoir, I have no clue that is because it's just so right into the Facebook comments who you are, and I'll definitely say a shout out. Now that being said, let's go on to the reaction of Sneider with the dance 5-pointer. Even I found that easy, right? But was Jeff Sneider right to complain internally? But you can see he was complaining. So was he right? Let's start with Ben.
Why didn't you have this on with me? I think if he didn't say anything out loud. I think not saying anything out loud is okay. I think though once he was saying something out loud, then it becomes an issue. But if you keep your mouth shut, you can get up and walk around like that. But I think it was okay when he did.
But was he right to complain? Like, was it too easy?
We've had too many.
No, it wasn't too easy. I didn't know it, but I didn't know it.
You're about to say Ryan.
I'm just gonna say this is the same. Unfortunately, we're gonna have the same discussion with almost every match. It was the same thing of last season where everyone was complaining about certain 5-pointers or 2-pointers. Where like the question, a 2-pointer would be so hard. Like best example, the Shazam and Odd Couple match of Shazam's 2-pointer of the American Hustle quote. Everyone thought, wait, that is a 2-pointer?
And by the way, Snark, multiple people now write in French because they don't learn French. So no, I didn't know it was you. All right. And for people who are watching right now, because people are now accumulating, we announced a couple of minutes before, but we'll re-announce it for those who don't know. We have officially merged with Mount Schmodown. So now Mount Schmodown is officially part of Schmoes North. Do not miss their episodes on Saturday for 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. That's our new time slot. And also old episodes Monday and Wednesday. Do not miss it out. All right. So
would you say we move mountains to bring the fans the best content?
And not only we move mountains, we move them up north.
Raised the elevation. You got in touch with our Sherpa, and our Sherpa really said good things. So, I mean, how else?
To jump back onto the was the question too difficult? I do need to point out that like Jeff does say that it shouldn't, like, that's not a 5-pointer, but he does wait until the question is over, and I don't think any of the getting up and walking around there's nothing wrong with any of that. And specifically, you can challenge the question's difficulty. It doesn't matter, you still lost the match. You can think a question is easy or hard or anything. He didn't say any of the writers were at fault. He didn't blame the loss, he just said, yeah, that was an easy question. Dan might say that was an easy question, and he will just say it in a nonchalant way because he's happy he got it. Like when you get the easy questions, you're not mad about them, and when your opponent gets the easy questions, you are mad about them. It's just gonna happen. It's the way the third round works for 8 years now. We cannot complain about it.
Also, to add on to what you were saying, it's round 3 when you pick the number of the category you're going to choose. Everything just, unfortunately, it falls to random. It falls to fate. Like Will Smith, it's been a while since Will Smith has been maybe a round 3 category. I mean, he did pop up occasionally last season, but I was always seeing him as a round 2 category and maybe as a 2-pointer, never in the area where he became a 5. And I'll be honest, I've seen 7 pounds, but even then, 7 pounds falls into in that one movie to where one of Will Smith's filmographies to where it falls to the wayside. And even then, that was a plot specific question of what happens to his character at the end of the film. If the question was phrased differently, instead of what Will Smith movie, and said, how about what 2007 drama featuring Rosario Dawson and Woody Harrelson has the main character get stung to death by a jellyfish, then you can say that it gets more complex. But even then, go ahead.
No, but I'm agreeing with you. That's all. I'm very expressive, Ryan.
Yeah, no, I get you. Yeah, no, just me. With everyone who's going to see our shows, myself and Brandon, we get carried away so much in our conversations when everyone's going to see the old episodes. Is like we have to pace ourselves.
All right. And by the way, Dan, do not look at the comments because someone spoiled it. Even though it's already passed, Dan has not seen that match. So let's try not to spoil for Dan. All right. Now,
I know the result, but I haven't seen it yet.
It's a very specific to like this last question. That person got it, so we're gonna avoid it because I know you love your questions.
But, and it does lead into the whole situation of what clarifies as a 5-pointer, and we can't even answer that question because who knows what it is.
I'm starting to understand a bit more, right? Because there's clues you can give, or you can instead of referencing like what actor, you can go for what character. There's ways to add complexity, right? And for me, 5-pointers are the ones that are no context clues and really makes you think. It really there's like a bug somewhere, right? That question.
Jeff Sneider's 5 is super fucking easy.
I don't find it that easy.
1998 comedy where Albert Brooks, another actor I didn't write down, and Ellen lend voices to live action animals. Specifically, live action animals is the big clue there, and it pretty much says it's only Dr. Dolittle.
No,
I will agree and disagree because I've seen Dr. Dolittle. I forgot that Albert Brooks and Ellen DeGeneres voice characters. Go ahead.
I was 3 when it came out, and I'm sure I've seen it 100 times between the ages of 5 and 10. So, like, it's kind of his question about Hulk Hogan dance, where he even says like some people wouldn't get that.
All right,
I'll be honest. That live animal question, I didn't know what it was. I thought it was. Can we cuss on here?
Yeah. Fuck.
Okay.
Yeah, Chris Rock.
I thought it was fucking pink in the city. I didn't think it was Dr. Dolittle. I thought it was fucking pink.
And I was thinking like it's not in my head, like, it's not Homeward Bound.
No,
right?
that was mid-90s.
I know there was a sequel and I think a third one or something.
Yeah, San Francisco or San Francisco Journey.
Yeah, something like that. So for me, it's like, is it the sequel? Because that would be a fucking 5-pointer, Like who studies for the sequel of fucking Homeward Bound? But
I remember watching that at my Nana's house. Honestly,
Not a bad movie.
But it's been years since I've seen them, so if that did pop up, I'm like, holy shit! Wow.
Yeah, right.
Now, let's go on because we got a couple minutes left before we end tonight's show. So let's go on to the next event. Dan, what's coming up for the next event?
Do you know? Because I don't have a graphic here.
I thought I had one, so that's why I deferred to you and hoping your big noggin would remember it. But God damn it, I know there is one of the events is Roca versus Liz Shannon Miller.
Mm-hmm.
And Ben versus Riley. There's
Exactly.
a double main event.
And fuck man, Roca versus
there's no way either is an undercard.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and the other one was William Bibiani versus poor people. How can
I'll look it up. Hold on. Give me a second.
All right, there you go. Thank you, Mr. Leo. I'll put it on.
We're gonna get
it's throwdown with Damien Demalanta and Bibiani Sneider.
I'm trying to think too.
Oh, Ryan has lag. Okay.
I thought it was Bibiani somebody.
Yeah, Bibiani. Oh, yeah, but that makes more sense. All right. Let's start with actually the Damon Demalanta. Sadly, Damon for me. We'll just pick our champs. Demalanta's good. I think he's not a finisher. He has more success than Scrimshaw. Scrimshaw's not a finisher too. But when it counts, for me, Demalanta doesn't always get to that point. I hope he proves me wrong and he improves his game, but I think Damon is going to stay champ for this match. And Bibiani and Oyama, I'm putting it to Oyama. What about you, boys?
For me, it's Damon. We've seen Damon at Delamanta. It's always Damon. And I'm going to say Mims. I think Bibiani meaning Paul.
All right, Ryan?
Even though logically everything says Damon, but you know what? This year, I'm actually going to try to start betting against him. So I'm going for Demalanta. But if he's unsuccessful, then I'm going to bet for Laura Kelly in the next one. Because I want to be not proven wrong or right, but I want to see a challenge be brought to Alex Damon. And so for right now, I'm going for Demalanta. We'll see how he fares with the betting round because that might determine everything. And then for the next match, I'd go either way because Bibiani, despite his basic knowledge, he has slipped up a couple times in round 3. Oyama, he keeps showing that he's always changing up his game to where he's no longer like last season in that season 7 tournament, he came close to being Sneider. He just did not know the last 5-pointer, his 5-pointer. If that happened, we would have seen a different ball game going on in Sneider. But even then, you know what? I want to see Bibiani get another shot, so I'm going for him. If Oyama wins, I'll still be happy with that.
All right. And you, Dan?
I like what Ryan was just saying there. I do agree. Like, getting Bibbs the win lets him like sneak onto a title track without having to go through the tournament, which like we all know Bibbs can go through a tournament, but going through a tournament and a full season and a championship run in Shazam and standing for a whole free-for-all, it's a lot for one man. So let's get it to him early. But no, I do sadly have Paul Oyama winning. But I do just think Paul is bringing like a little bit of his first season attitude and a little bit of his second season experience, and you merge those two together, and I think Paul Oyama can maybe right the ship and become the player he truly is, rather than any distractions he might have had. And for the main event, well, I do have Alex Damon holding his belt for the whole year, so I'm gonna have to pick Alex. I think Andrew challenges him a little bit. I think Laura Kelly gives him a true, like, actual challenge, and I sadly think Harper is going to lose to somebody in the tournament and just not get that. He's not going to be the #1 contender.
How
And as
dare
long
you?
as-
How dare
Oh
you?
my
How
god.
dare you?
Again,
Harper's
even-
bringing the next generation to again. I
even
agree.
if you say that, everybody on that list of Dragon Con players has beaten Thomas Harper as much as Thomas Harper has beaten them. So it's
and they all beating Damon too. It's intertwining, right?
yeah.
But again, there's something special about the guy. I'll let him talk. He runs through the whole fucking league. But and let's go fast because we got again just a couple of minutes left. Let's go for the other event with Roca and Liz Shannon Miller.
Yeah.
Fuck. To be honest, Roca. As much as I love Liz Shannon Miller, I think Roca is gonna be back in the groove. He has a chip on his shoulder, and he definitely has something to really like prove. And I think it's gonna motivate him. Liz is good, but transitioning to another faction and not necessarily knowing the dynamics in that faction, I think might put her in a negative, especially against such a veteran. And the other one, Ben Bateman versus Riley, I have to say, boys, something in my gut is saying Riley. Let's go with Ryan. What do you think?
You're not wrong. My gut also is leaning towards Riley as well. And look, Ben has, to me, it's despite what Ben has been doing on backstage and the cutscenes he's in, Ben, it's not like he has the most to lose, but the more pressure is on him. With Riley, on the other hand, he has more to gain out of this. Riley has openly said he'll keep playing until they force him into a retirement. So it doesn't look like, even if Riley loses, that's not going to be the end of his season. He's still going to play more. But right now, my gut is going towards Riley because I believe if he puts on the same performance he did in the tournament last year, he could take Ben all the way to that 5-pointer. And then I'm going to go for Liz. And this is not just based off her performance last season, but the fact that she's still going to be with hold on. Yeah, she's still going to be with the Suspects, right?
Yeah.
Or yeah.
But she was with Swag down with Suspects.
Wait, hold on. I'm trying to remember the draft now. Yeah, she was one of the people during the free agency special who said she was going to stay with the Suspects. Yeah.
No, she was with Swag last year. Now she's with the Suspects.
Jesus, that's why I'm losing it here.
Yeah, but she's also potentially teaming up with the person who brought her into the league and Ethan Irwin. So, while it's a new faction, it's not necessarily a new dynamic because she is familiar with a lot of the people she's surrounded with now.
Yeah, and the fact and the people that she's there. Yeah, Ethan Irwin, who was someone that brought her in. Drew McWeeny, who's now coming back. Even then, with
the true GOAT, Rachel Cushing.
Yeah,
because we didn't talk about that when we were talking about Dan Murrell earlier. Look, Dan Murrell may be the best player of all time and have all the best records, but
we're gonna have to cut that short, bro.
I'm on the same boat as you, man. I think Rachel's the best, one of the best overall players.
All right. Like order, people. Let's go to Ben. What do you think?
I think Walker has something to prove, which makes it scary. So I'm going to say Walker, and I'm going to say Bateman.
Okay. And yeah, go ahead.
And yeah, I was about to say, like, both Roca and Bateman have something to prove, which by contrast means Liz and Riley are free to do whatever they want. And I think that will win out in the end. So I actually have Miller and Riley taking out the two former horsemen, and we can have an interesting start to this season.
All right, like boys. So in that case, we are at the end of our episode. Sorry to cut it short, but we will end at 1 hour. That being said, do not forget to like, subscribe, and notifications on any content for Schmoes of the North. Again, it's not just us now. We are merged with Mount Schmoedown. Don't miss a thing. And when, if ever people want to find you, Ryan and Ben, where could they find you?
I just have my Twitter at MidRader2.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Ryan?
My personal Twitter, caramel_pain. And also, of course, you can also contact us with the Mount Schmoedown Twitter as well. It's just simply Mount Schmoedown. And of course, if you just want to present it personally, you just hit me through Facebook.
And thank you, Rob. It's such an insightful word. All right, and my man, Mr. Dan, where can the people find you, and what do you have up your sleeve recently?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Avengers_SOTN. That's Avengers with an EH instead of an A. And you can also find me over on our Facebook page, Schmoes of the North, where I run our fantasy leagues. They're actually currently all closed, but like, I don't know, maybe if I found one halfway through the season, if there were 6 people who wanted to join, I'd start a draft the next week. To be completely honest. And
right.
Also, yeah, my show on our channel is the Best TV Show podcast, where I sit down with a guest for an hour to 90 minutes and just talk to them about their favorite TV show. And that has another episode dropping next week, next Thursday. It was supposed to be this one, but with premiere and a new job and sleep schedule, I wasn't able to get in with my guests. So see y'all next week on that, and that's about it.
All right, so you all beautiful people, thank you very much for watching. Until next time, bonsoir.
Bonsoir.